Hey, what is going on, everyone? Nathan back with a bit of news today. So you may remember from about a month and a half ago, I put out a quick video on why I think Smogon's pop-up tournaments are a great way to improve. I'd recommend you watch the video if you haven't already, but it essentially boiled down to me saying that these tournaments, while light and fun and zero stakes, do add a bit of pressure to your gameplay, which is a great way to simulate a more competitive environment. In my opinion, they're a really great tool to improve, not to mention they're really fun. As a result, I've actually been hosting my own pop-up tournaments similar to these on my stream, which started really small, but has kind of evolved into a big part of my stream and something I personally look forward to every week. Despite their popularity though, I've run into a couple problems with running these tournaments lately. First, I was really concerned about the prize pot. Well, at first I was able to offer a bit of money to the winner. I'll be honest, I'm a broke student and I really couldn't afford to keep that up on a weekly basis. And second was that something cropped up and we were no longer able to use the group chat function on Showdown to actually host the tournaments. This was bound to happen eventually because the more these tournaments grew, the more difficult it got to invite people one by one into the group chats. But still, it was the main way that I hosted the tournaments, and losing them was a really big problem. So with the first problem, after talking to some people in my stream and my Discord, I decided that the prize for first place would be a free sub to my stream in addition to a custom emote. So once you win, you tell me what kind of emote you want and I design it, then add to the channel. And I realize it's not a lot, it's not that impressive, but realistically it's all that I could afford and sustain on a week-to-week basis. Again, I realized after talking to everyone about it, but if the alternative to that was no prizes or no tournament at all, then it had to be good enough. Again, the goal is really just to add some incentive to winning these tournaments while still keeping it so there's literally zero stakes for losing or zero barrier to entry. Because if you think about it, you really have nothing to lose. If you're embarrassed for whatever reason about not being good enough or whatever pressure you put on yourself, just keep in mind there's already a ton of newcomers in the tournament who are just there to improve, and there's zero shame in being one of them. Having your goal purely be to improve and to find flaws in your own gameplay, I think is extremely reasonable, if not admirable. And in fact, I've had more than a few of these newcomers come to me afterwards and talked about how much they've improved since entering these things. So there really isn't much to lose and potentially a lot to gain. Not to mention, I usually broadcast as many of the matches as I can, so there's a good chance that I and members of the chat will be able to offer some constructive advice for you as the games go on. Lost a lack of game knowledge. I mean, I didn't want to rip you apart there, but my main thing was I would have gone to Fluffy way more aggressively against that Umbreon. It was his primary matchup. Very not okay with this U-turn. What's the point? Is that 40% chip you're getting on Zapdos that important? Then you need to do that. You need to risk paralyzing really your best offensive Pokemon at this point. Arguably your only offensive Pokemon with Magearna crippled and Magearna taking all this percent every time it swaps in. Really disagree with that. And now the matchup from the opposing Cinderace is devastating. It's like the enemy Cinderace could just win at this point if the Hippowdon gets chipped low enough. If Zapdos has a move besides Discharge to hit this Hippowdon, it's going to be huge. It's going to be the whole game, I think. I think that might be the whole game right there. I could be wrong. We'll see. But as for my second problem on hosting the tournaments, which was a bit more significant, an opportunity to fix that actually approached me out of the blue last week. So shout outs to Vextel in particular for setting this up. You're a complete legend, but he approached me representing the Pokeland Discord and group chat on Smogon and offered the chat for a place to host the weekly tournaments. And this is huge for a number of reasons, but the biggest one is that it makes it even easier to join these tournaments than it was before. Instead of having to ping me personally and ask to be invited, you can just join this tournament completely randomly, completely anonymously, and there's, again, zero cost to entry. It was really just a win-win situation where they were looking for some more members in their chat room and Discord, and I was looking for a way to host these tournaments. So it really came together perfectly. And because of that, I can announce that going forward, my weekly tournaments are now going to be hosted in the Pokeline chat. To join, all you need to do is go to play.pokemonshowdown.com/Pokeland and enter the tournaments from there. I'll still be broadcasting the OU tournament from my stream if you want to just watch along with me. And of course, I'll still be giving it the sub and custom emote to first place. I'm sure it's going to be a blast. People always end up bringing some crazy stuff to these things, and I'm always dying laughing or hyped as hell. So pretty good options right there. But yeah, that's really all I want to mention this video. I really appreciate everyone's help in making sure that these tournaments continue to run smoothly. I also wanted to put out this video to kind of, I guess, formally advertise these tournaments going forward and get as many people into them as possible. So if you're watching this and it sounds like there might be some fun for you, be sure to stop by on a Monday night. That's when I host them. I'm hoping to see lots of people join tonight at 9 p.m. EST, so make sure you're there at least a little bit early to sign up in time. Of course, I also appreciate some love being thrown to the mods and admins of Pokeland for their help setting this up. Beyond the URL to the chat on Showdown, I've also thrown a link to their Discord in the description below. Be sure to show them some love. Might be a bit weird since they're mostly made up of French speakers, but if it helps, all my interactions with them have been nothing but positive, so I'd recommend you give them a look, and there are some English speakers in there too, so don't be too weirded out by that. Otherwise, that's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I apologize for the slight drought in content on the channel lately. If I'm being honest, this last week I've been working on like 5 different videos at once. I'm kind of scatterbrained, but most of it should start to release soon. In particular, tomorrow I've got a big one coming out, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, thanks again. Take it easy.